Good morning, Dave.
Hey Gary, how are you?
Alrighty, how you doing?
Good.
I want to thank you for all you're doing for this. You're by far exceeding the pack.
Oh, well, thanks. I mean, some things I'm able to dive into and other things, I don't know. We're all better at certain things, right?
Absolutely. I see we got Bill. Morning, Bill.
Good morning, everyone.
Hi, Pat.
Morning, Pat. Morning, Dave.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. I think Jeff's on there. You on, Jeff?
Yeah, good morning.
Nice of you to make it.
Yeah, sorry. I I choose not to if I could right now.
Pat, I don't know if you got the message. Al can't make it.
I did see that, yes.
Okay. All right.
You guys had a lot of rain there?
Not really. They keep saying rain every day, but
We've had a little bit here and there, but yeah, they've been telling me we're getting a lot more, but enough rain to get the weeds growing.
Were you guys affected by all that rain when I saw on Facebook that downtown was just underwater?
Yeah, we got a lot of rain that day, but nowhere near what Key West, when it rains like that, Key West always floods, so.
Yeah.
It was thunderstorms all day that day.
yeah, yesterday we rode into Key West and poured when we were in Big Coppet. By the time we got through it, it was nothing.
How you feeling, Gary?
I'm feeling fine.
Good.
Tomorrow I get zapped, then it's another story.
I got you. Well,
Wow.
I think your bald head looks very good on you.
It's funny because when I talked to Jeff Marine about it, it really is cool not dealing with shampoo and a brush and all that other stuff. I mean, it is different.
Yeah, bar
Hey,
soap.
hair is way overrated. Hey,
Uh,
Gary, just so you know, I'm talking to a company right now that's got a new advanced drug, a new drug for advanced prostate cancer in the clinic. Looks really good.
the one I talked to you about that the urologist mentioned,
Yeah,
my oncologist says that's in the plan. We wanted to go through the first rounds of chemo first.
right. That's after their first rounds of chemo. Absolutely. But it's good that you're eligible for it. It's a great, it's a really great advance. About 2 years ago, it came out 2, 3 years ago. It's a great advance.
Yeah, especially for bone.
Yeah. But there's a whole new one coming out, a whole new mechanism, which I'm actually talking to a company about possibly working with.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So if anything happens with that, I'll let you know. But promising. So all this stuff in the pipeline is very promising stuff.
Poison me, do it.
No, this stuff will not poison you that much. That's the key.
Oh, that's even better.
We're trying to save your hair if you want it.
Ac- Actually, even when it does come back, I'll probably keep it like this.
Oh man, I'm telling you, my barber is a great barber.
Must be the same one Dave Peck uses.
Mine's quickie in the shower with some soap. There you go.
Yeah, this barber never screws up, and he's cheap.
I don't see Karen yet. Oh, yeah, I see Randy there. Go down one. Karen, you with us?
She's probably setting up for both of her.
Yeah.
There we go.
Sorry, this is Karen. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can,
Yes.
Karen.
I'm still trying to get you on my phone.
Go ahead. Take your time.
Is it busy at all over at Venture Out?
Yes, we're busy. And
I know you're busy, but has the community got renters?
yeah, the winds are dying down. We had 30, 36 of them checking.
So this is Karen. I'm still not hearing. Well, I don't think you're hearing me on my phone because
We
there's
are here,
two
we are hearing.
instances.
Yes, we are
Maybe
hearing.
Kevin, do you have to approve me as a panelist?
I sent it over.
Yep, there we go.
Can you hear us now, Karen?
Okay, hopefully that'll work now.
Yeah, you're good now.
Sorry.
That's okay, no problem.
So it's 11:35. I think we'll get started. Get to the agenda here. Let's call the meeting to order. First of all, I guess, is there any guest comments with regards to anything that's not on the agenda today?
One hand, you got Bert's hand up.
Well, I thought I had my name on here, but yeah, I guess it says Bert still. I have a
Yeah.
question for Kevin.
Ma'am.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
How
Yes.
many charter boat captains or commercial fishermen do we have that live and operate out of Venture Out, either through our marina or leaving their own dock?
I think right now there's one or two. We had four. The one person's not here right now. But I believe there's possibly two right now.
Okay, that's all I needed to know. Thank you.
Well, to add on to that, what's the peak amount of captains that we would have at any one time?
The peak I know about, there was four, but two of them, I don't know if they're doing it anymore. I know the one's not. The other one I haven't seen, so I'm not sure.
Okay. Is there any other comments at this point from our guests? If not, I'm going to call the meeting to order, and I will do roll call. Karen Ederington,
I'm here.
Bill Wigley,
Here.
Al Kakamo is excused. Elmer Tabor. Elmer.
Not on.
Elmer's absent. Dave Peck,
Here.
Jeff Marine,
Present.
and of course, I'm here as well. Next, let's go to the approval of minutes. For the sake of time, we will not read those, but I assume everybody has read them. Is there any corrections or changes that we should consider? If not, I'll call for a vote. All who approve the minutes as written, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed. So we're going to move on to old business. And before we do that, today, we're going to attempt to have a final draft, at least notes, for our attorney. I would like to get as far as that, have enough meat on the table for him to review for our next meeting. Is there any discussion on that? If not, we'll move forward. We're going to review the submitted recommendations. I didn't get all of them again today, but let's start with right going down the line. Karen, can you kind of give us an overview of the submitted recommendations that you've read from others and, of course, from yourself?
I'm sorry, did you say me, Pat?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not as familiar with all of the ones that everybody else has submitted. I do have a printout here. So maybe I think most of them came from Dave and Bill Wigley. We'll let them go over them maybe in more detail. My only comment, and I'm sorry, I was extremely busy this week, so I didn't have a whole lot of time. My only comment was more talking about some of the commercial endeavors that are sort of like the golf carts and the commercial fishermen. And everything looks like that I've read so far looks like those are excluded from being able to participate activities in VO, at least the way I've read everything that's been proposed so far. And I was just wondering if there was a way for them to continue what they're been doing, because I don't really see a way to enforce that without actually watching people or something. Like, could they include VO in their liability? A standard clause about, they will, including VO is, and again, I'm not technical enough to know exactly what would need to be included. But I know in a lot of like contracts that I did for Randy, we'd have a, like a hold harmless clause and things. So that was my only suggestion is are we truly going to disagree with or not allow any type of people to come in if it is for a commercial business?
Well, and let me comment that I think the attempt here is to allow them to continue business with venture out owners and rentals is the only thing that would be excluded, I think, at this point, unless I'm wrong or we want to bring them in, is outside folks coming in for those types of services. Does everybody agree with that we're trying to do that?
Yes, yes.
Yes, but I also, and I can cover my notes now if you want me to go next, but I also thought we were basically going for yes, the owners have more rights to use the property, but I thought we were also trying to create a scenario where outside vendors, that come in and use roadways or might need parking or might need to use the restroom, et cetera. We were also trying to cover any guidelines in the draft that may come up in the event we needed them.
That's exactly right. That's why I wrote kind of a bullet point types of things that we discussed that really aren't in writing yet, and get opinions from those folks. And Dave did a nice job, and I'll let you go next, Dave, and I'll just introduce that, is that of the most of the elements that I had written down for discussion, basically he addressed in some kind of verbiage, and we will go through those particular ones today. But go ahead, and Dave, why don't you walk through your thoughts and what you wrote?
So, again, I just want to paraphrase by saying, I'm not a huge fan of limiting owner activities, et cetera. If our goal is to come up with something that protects the community, and other people within the community, and outlines some good variables, et cetera, that are guidelines for vendors coming in and gives us the right to say yes or no in certain circumstances, I think that's where we're headed, and that's what I tried to accomplish for the most part. Basically, nothing changed a whole lot about my initial draft that came in prior to the last meeting, except for a couple of changes that Pat mentioned, that were homework assignments that we needed to add it. And mine kind of came out in the form of exemptions. And those exemptions, would be something that wouldn't be considered prohibited commercial activity. And I think everybody's gotten a copy of it. What's that?
Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
You're talking.
So the exemptions, would be something that wouldn't be considered prohibited commercial activity, and I kind of outlined those. And I know some of them are lengthy. I did submit 2 things for review. One was a shorter, kind of a condensed version, and one was a longer version. And I think they both have merit in certain areas. I'm a wordy guy, and I think that covering your butt can be more broad and sometimes require more verbiage. So that's kind of my feeling on that. I don't know if everybody got a copy of this and you want me to read through them, but I'm happy to explain where each one came from, but we'll start with that.
Yeah, I think, quite frankly, the definition of what we have today, we certainly can put that to bed. And I think, secondly, the outline of allowing service companies, if you will, or house companies to operate. But there's other elements, and that's why, and I think we're on the right track for that. And the verbiage that we have is good enough to at least submit to our attorney, but possibly a word here or a word there to get clarity, and we will work through those. But the other elements that that Dave had written about that I submitted, that we touched on in the last couple of meetings, I think the committee needs to kind of at least should at least put them to bed in a way to where we understand who's for it and who's against it. The two elements that Dave did not include was should we limit, and let's have a discussion on that, should we limit how many outside guests you can have? And I brought that up, and I threw out 4 and 6. And basically the reasoning for it is even though you're not a commercial business, somebody can rent a property or own a property and bring 20 people into their house for a day visit, not a night visit. Those are regulated. But a day visit, you can bring in groups and groups of people.
Less than one.
And should we address that and restrict it? So let's have a discussion on that.
I saw that. I intentionally left it out because I didn't quite understand where we were going with that, and I wanted to have more discussion on it. My initial thought is, I'm not a fan of it only because I feel like owners have the right, to invite as many people as they want. But I don't know how you can legally limit that, but I didn't research that.
You can legally limit it as long as it's in the governing documents. And keep in mind that if you have a party at your house, most likely, most of those are registered guests and or owners, and they would not be included in the guests.
I was going to say, do we have an issue with that now? Have we noticed an issue with having too many guests coming in?
No, we don't.
I think the only time I've heard it, and this is maybe prior to Kevin, is that we would have folks that were renting that were coming in from Miami, and they would have 15 or 20 people visiting.
I can tell you for a fact that happened when we lived at 172. 171 had, I'd say, 20, 25 people there. They partied all day, all night. People were sleeping in hammocks tied to the underneath. It was terrible.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, it's gonna be tough to stop that. I mean, well, I guess if you limit the people coming in from the outside, if they all rent homes on the inside and go to one house, I don't see how you stop that though.
Yeah, and the reasoning for it is we're changing the governing documents, so it isn't easily changed in the future without going to the membership. This is a radical change that the membership has to approve, and I don't know. From my perspective, I don't think it hurts the owner or hurts the renter to have some kind of number restricted. And if you did want to have something beyond that number, it would be considered a special event, and it could be approved by the board as we read through some of these documents.
Well, so isn't the goal here, as far as this goes, so the first rationale for even thinking about this and too many people coming into the park is invited guests, where the concern that a business would, like a fishing business or something, would have a bunch of people come and then they'd use our pool or something along those lines, just an example. Now the issue is similar, right? That just somehow there'd be somebody, even a guest, that would bring too many people in and would just kind of overwhelm our own facilities as well for the private, the ownership here. But it seems like that's going to be pretty rare, because if they're having, like, say, if they're having a party with people here, they're all going to be already registered. And the issue that Bill just mentioned, that's, if I'm not mistaken, that was regulated, and that shouldn't have happened within our own community at this point. If I'm not mistaken, those people aren't allowed to sleep out on hammocks and stuff like that at night. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I was under the impression that wasn't allowed. I know you can't sleep in a tent on your property. And so, I mean, I think that stuff kind of already exists, and that just becomes, Bill, as you've pointed out a number of times, an enforcement issue more than a new regulation, because we already have those regulations in place. But the idea of regulating the number of people that come in for a guest, for a party, something like that. I don't know how exactly you do it, but at least having it go through management so that there's some kind of a permit. Say if you have more than 10 people invited in and you get a permit, at least then we know, and we can address that within our own community and facilities and kind of, make sure things aren't overwhelmed, make sure residents aren't impacted. That would be my thoughts on why this exists and why we're dealing with this.
Other thoughts, please? Anybody else?
Yeah, since I've been here, we haven't had that problem. I mean, if we have several people in a house, we get a couple Miami renters in here, but they're renting 3-4 houses. They're at one house, but then they're going back to the houses they are for sleeping. So, I mean, what Bill's describing, I don't know how many years ago that was, but it was before my time. And like I said, we haven't seen that problem at all. I mean, most people.
So the problem doesn't really exist, but if we wanted to regulate it in case of that situation, that's not the worst thing in the world to have it. But I agree. I mean, it's not an urgent matter. It doesn't seem to be impacting the park. And again, I go back to the point where I thought this point was originally about businesses bringing people in.
That's true. And all this is being proactive.
Yeah.
And and basically addressing something that possibly may never happen or whatever, but at the same time, won't hurt the ownership. So that is my question. If we put a number on this, is that going to be disrespectful to the ownership or to a renter?
I think you're going to see a lot of feedback from that question. And I don't know that all of it's going to be in favor of it. Again, I'm still not in favor of it personally. I don't like to put rules in place for things that aren't really a problem yet. I'd rather address it if it comes up, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, well, and that's true with rules. I think with governing documents, I don't think that's true. That's my opinion. But let's put it to let's do a straw vote on do we want to address this or don't we?
Pat, can I add something?
Sure.
We only allow a maximum of 6 overnight in a home or a lot.
Right.
Isn't six a good working number? And if you want to exceed that, management approval?
So you're talking about 6-day guests, and you would be in favor of that?
That's just what I'm suggesting, since that's the maximum we allow.
You can have 12 then, because if they bring 6 people in from the outside, the 6 are already staying there.
Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah.
Can you say that again, Kevin? I'm sorry.
6 people are allowed to stay there. 6 guests are already there. They invite 6 more. That's 12. But the thing is, if you own your own home, you can have as many people sleep in your home as you want. It's rentals that cannot have 6 people or more.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, no, in the RV rules, in fact, the resolution that'll come forth Monday, it's a maximum of 6 overnight guests.
For RVs or homes?
In an RV,
I'm
yeah.
talking about the homes. You cannot regulate the homes.
I thought it is.
Only for rentals.
Karen, can you check that? Karen Bergansky?
I thought it was both, because I know when we've rented a house, they've told us we could only have 6
Correct.
guests.
Right, that's renters. Yes.
If it's a rental.
But as an owner,
Yeah, but I mean, it was my daughter came and they rented a house. So it was not me officially renting in my house. It was my daughter came in and rented a house to stay in.
It's my impression that, that your material altering ownership rights, if you apply it to owners without a voter membership. That's my understanding.
Yeah.
I mean, a membership vote, excuse me.
I mean, personally, I don't think we need a rule if we don't have an issue.
I don't think it would apply to homeowners. I mean, I don't think it would legally apply to homeowners unless they voted for it.
So I mean, Karen and Dave are both right about not wanting to add rules that we don't need. That, I think because we don't have this as an issue. The other side of the coin is if we perceive this to be a potential issue and we don't have something in place, then it becomes unenforceable. I know we talk about being able to enforce it. If it was to happen, and a rule that never was broken, then that would be great. But if it was a rule at some time somebody was pushing the envelope on and it was causing a disturbance in the park or, some way impacting the membership here, then it would be good to have that rule in place for that time. Again, I don't know if Dave's right, if we have to go to a full membership vote just to make this change or not. But I think having a rule sometimes allows you to at least put parameters around what your criteria are. And that might be a good idea here.
But Shelley's.
Yeah, I'm,
Shelley.
the rule is renters only. I'm reading from the blue book here on page 6. A maximum of 6 lessees renters are allowed to occupy a unit simultaneously. It only pertains to when you rent a
Right.
unit.
Correct.
And I
Thank
did
you,
look.
Shelley.
I did look up when I was, trying to come up with some of these rules, et cetera. And I could be wrong. It's an attorney question. But again, I think when you talk about materially altering ownership rights and the fact that they can only have so many people at their house, that has to be part of the membership vote in order to
Right.
make it part of the declaration.
To change the documents, it's a membership vote anyways.
Yeah, right.
Well,
Okay.
here's a question. Is the blue book conflicting at all with our governing documents?
What's the blue book? I'm sorry, I don't know that.
Part of
Yes.
the blue book.
Technically, right now, with the commercial business it is,
Okay,
because right now, the condo docs say no businesses. Our rules and regs say commercial activities are considered having an employee and or customer come into the house. So that's in a direct
Right.
conflict with the declaration.
okay, let's put this one to bed. We can continue to pursue this, or do you want to just not think it's important? Let's do a straw vote. Karen, do you want to continue to have limitations on day guests or not?
No.
Bill?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. Dave?
No.
All right. And Jeff?
I'm not a voting member, but I
know.
okay.
Well, you are a voting member if we don't, if
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, so in that case, I think we can put that to bed, but I think that's something to think about as we finalize things, if after everything's finalized, if we need to bring that back up. But I think for right now, it's fine to put it to bed.
Okay, and the next one that was not mentioned in this document before we go through it all is invited guests would need to stay with the lot owner and or renter. The idea behind this is, and it happens, in my opinion, quite a bit, is that you have somebody that wants to go swimming. You say, "I just go on in and I'll call your name and you can go to the pool." Or you want to play pickleball, come on in. I won't be there, but you can join the group. And basically that leads into the limitations a little bit, but let's talk about this specifically. Is that a problem, or do we want to continue to allow it?
Is it a problem? That's what I'm asking.
I can tell you, being a pickleball player, that we have people that either used to live in the park that live outside or are invited in and come in and aren't always with the people they were invited by. It's never been a problem. It's not a problem. I mean, it works. So the question is, do we want to allow that, to continue to allow it as long as it doesn't cause a problem? But it does happen. I want you to know that.
Right, but the thing is, how is that enforceable? I mean,
Exactly.
I have no idea if a renter's here and he calls somebody in and I see the guy, he can still be a renter. I don't know who he's at.
Good question. Again, though, just because something's not enforceable doesn't mean there shouldn't be necessarily a rule in place to deal with that issue if it ever becomes a problem, right? If it's not a problem and it's happening and you don't want to enforce it, I mean, there's all kinds of selective enforcement, right? If you're driving down the road at 20 miles over the speed limit and the cop gives you a ticket, the next person maybe gives a warning to, right? There's certain things that you select depending on the situation and the circumstances. So, but the fact is, it's still legal to drive 20 miles over the speed limit. And if they want to stop you and stop somebody from doing that, they can. If we put a rule in place and it becomes an issue, then it allows us to actually to have something to stand behind us. If you don't put the rule in place, it doesn't. But again, I don't see this as a problem in the park at this point. I haven't seen it.
The only time I can think of that it may have been an issue was a couple years ago, maybe a year or two, when some teenagers came in, somebody called them in, let them in, and they ended up getting into a disagreement, fight, something. That's the only time that I could think of it possibly had been an issue.
Yeah, and part of that is the basketball issue we had a couple of years ago, that people from the outside and so on and so forth. It again, it's being proactive. If in fact this ever grows into a problem,
Yeah.
I think my personal feeling is, this is a smart thing to consider, mainly because the abuse can grow and grow and grow. It's no different. It's no different in my mind that we had all these services that in place that were helping with the park, and then all of a sudden, one of our services, and I'll speak to it, the charter boats, all of a sudden went one step farther and started using common property. So now we got to address it.
Right.
We should have addressed it earlier. So that's kind of my point to all of these things that may or may not be a problem today, but could grow into a problem later on.
Yeah, I think a lot of what we've already addressed and what we're here for deals with a lot of things that haven't really happened in bulk. But they've not happened much, or they've happened here and there, so we're covering a lot of things that don't happen often. And it's like Pat just said, it's a matter of, do we want to add this to that, just to cover the community, and if that's the case, I don't see a problem with putting it in there. Again, there's a lot of issues there are a lot of factors that can come into play. Enforceability, is a big one. And if it doesn't happen a lot, then we don't have to worry about enforceability, but it's there if we need it.
Yeah, so this bridges into the common a little bit, just to leave this, and we'll take a vote, is that if I have a guest that comes in, if I have a person that wants to go charter fishing, and they say, can just come in as Pat's guest, and now you can take the charter fish within the park because now you're approved guest, and I can go around and pick up 3 or 4 different people to get on the charter, as much like the golf cart issue. The golf cart issue morphed into, I got 10 golf carts and I just hide them and get permission on different lots to park them. It's that kind of thing that morphs into an issue because we didn't address it.
Yeah, I mean, Pat, I think you're right. I think there's a benefit to being proactive in front of all this. Just because you don't have a problem doesn't mean it's not necessarily good to have some parameters in place regarding what could potentially happen. Thinking ahead is always good. The other side of the coin is I really don't like your idea of having to every time you have an invited guest, you have to stand with them wherever they go. You have to be next to them. You have to be with them all the time. I think I don't like that, and I don't know how to kind of bridge that gap.
Yeah, and I get that. I get that. Most of the time, not all the time. If you've got a guest, you're inviting him in to be with you. You're
Right.
not inviting him. Why else would you invite them?
But I mean, if you're taking care of something at the house and they want to go play pickleball or go sit at the pool, I don't think somebody should be forced to have to go sit at the pool because their guest wants to sit there, and especially if there's no problems. But again, you don't want to write a rule and then immediately contradict what you're doing or say we're not going to enforce it. So, but I do like the idea of being proactive, and I think this committee can probably figure out a good way to deal with that issue in a reasonable manner so that we don't impact guests or members in an irrational or difficult manner.
Any other comments?
It might, I can see the point where it might be good to have a rule to that effect, excuse me.
Mhm.
If there's a just 9 times out of 10, there won't be disturbance, but there is, like what Karen pointed out,
Right.
teenagers coming in and causing a disturbance. In that case, we have an enforcement mechanism. We can ask them to leave
Yeah.
because they're not with a renter. I can see if that might be helpful, but other than that, I can't see, as Jeff said, having to go to the pool just because you have a guest that wants to go to the pool and you don't.
Okay, let's take a straw vote, and we'll kill this one or allow it. Karen, do you like addressing this or not?
No,
Bill Weegley.
I don't think it's a problem right now.
Okay, Dave Peck.
Come back to me. I need to think about that a minute.
Okay, Jeff, I think we know that you don't like this.
I don't like the specific rule, but I don't think we need to address the issue.
Okay.
I think I'm going to say yes.
But I'm going to say yes as well, but I think we're 2-2.
3-2, Jeff.
Yeah. What's that?
3-2 with Jeff.
Yeah.
And so Jeff would kill it. So we'll
No,
move on.
I was in agreement that it should be addressed.
Oh, it should be. Okay.
Yeah. I just said I don't like the way you addressed it, but
I don't know how to put it in words yet, but I think it should be addressed to protect the community in the event we need to use it.
yeah. Again, I agree with you. Being proactive is a good thing.
Okay.
I mean, I just know that, like I said, I've had guests come visit me, and again, I'm an owner, but I'll say, "Oh, I'll meet you in a half an hour to go ahead and go to the pool. I'm still doing something." So,
Right.
is this just a guest inviting another guest, or is this an owner inviting a guest?
No, it's an owner inviting a guest. It's full circle. Yes.
Okay.
And Pat, what we were just voting on wasn't what you put in place. It was voting on addressing
correct.
the issue.
That's right.
Right. Okay.
It can be worded much differently.
Thank
but
you.
if you don't even like the idea, then we'll kill it, just like the first one.
Okay. Good.
Mike,
I think there's merit to it. I just, like I say, changing the wording, changing how it's stated.
I think what we can do is leave a sentence like this and have the attorney, who's probably got, I know the attorney has dealt with this before. So he's probably got verbiage that makes sense.
I
I'm
can't.
not concerned with it. It was having the owner have to be with your guest every minute of the day. That's what
Right.
I object to.
I agree with Bill on that.
If we can
I
word it
agree
differently,
also.
then fine.
I agree with you, what you're saying. I think we can come up with a solution that doesn't prohibit clearly nothing. I mean, you're not allowed any form of getting there without an owner.
Right.
And
I agree.
let's define guest a little bit, because it's a little confusing, quite frankly, what Dave wrote. It's called authorized guests, and I think they're rental folks that are on with your rent. The 6 that you might have on there are approved, and they can go anywhere they want. They don't need anything. It's the day guest that I'm talking about.
What is a day guest? Define what you're talking about.
Somebody that's here for the day, not staying overnight.
Holy shit, is it nice in here?
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Now we know Randy's opinion.
Yeah, so-
They
But
said
not
that
good
was your
argument.
opinion.
So does that clear it up? I mean, that's what I'm thinking. So if you,
Yeah, I think it's still going to take some creative writing to make it so that it
Right.
works.
that's right. That's right. And we'll leave that up to the attorney. Might expand another sentence or two with this, but hand it off.
Pat, what did you just, can you say again what you were suggesting?
It's the day guests that basically need to be addressed. The night guests that are with you are on the lease. They're registered. The folks that are coming during the day really are not registered. They're just day guests. those are the folks that are there for the day. And those are the ones that'll be leaving, not sleeping there, that need to be
Gotcha.
with the owner and or the renters.
How do we monitor that?
Yeah. My next
I mean,
question.
it's one of those things. Enforcement is always an issue. I mean, it's 10 miles an hour, but every day it's broken. And we still keep 10 miles an hour.
But I do appreciate that distinction you made, Pat. That's I think that's an important distinction, and I think you're right. But I was going to say that, ask the same thing as Bill. I was going to take a page out of Bill's playbook and say, how do you enforce it? But I guess the real truth is, unless there's a problem, enforcement's irrelevant, right? Unless, I mean, if you invite somebody for the day and you're staying in your house cooking dinner and they go sit at the pool while you're cooking dinner and they don't cause any problem, nobody in the world's going to ever say a word. It's not going to be an issue. If they go over there and start creating a ruckus, whatever, then there's going to be an issue, and then there's something in place, and to hold the owner accountable and for their own guests. And I think that's reasonable. And I think if enforcement's only important if there's a real need to enforce it.
Yeah, and the other element is liability. Unless we have a rule like this and we allow them to wander off all by themselves and they trip or whatever, maybe there's some liability there. And that's the attorney's opinion or not his opinion.
I think those are reasonable.
The only question on enforceability is that if someone has the problem and then we enforce something on them, but that person goes, well, and has all documented everyone else bringing stuff in, it just shows selective enforcement. So
it's no different, Kevin, than stopping somebody that did 15 miles an hour and the guy just went by you at 20.
Except we don't do that in park.
Or the 20 bikes that don't stop for stop signs and golf carts that don't stop for stop signs, but then we give somebody crap that.
Yeah, it's selective.
Yeah, well, there's all kinds of selective enforcement, and it really depends again on the circumstances and the situation there and the impact. So Kevin, I don't think anybody would be expecting your staff security to be going around asking everybody if they're an owner or a renter and if they're supposed to be there or a guest or whatever. I don't think anybody cares. I think the only time it would be important is if there was actually an issue in front of us. And at that point, I think we have park rules that I think we can justify dealing with people that are somehow causing an impact to the community.
Yeah, and this also bridges into the fact, and we haven't gotten there yet, on the artesian and some of the other elements that we'll talk about, is somebody's doing clay pottery and somebody comes from the outside and pays them, $10, which is not much, and they're coming in from the outside. I don't know if that's an issue or not, but it happens.
Yeah, I don't think we should stop that sort of thing. I mean,
No.
Everybody benefits.
Right.
Absolutely, Bill.
Right. All right. So anyway,
You got a hand up?
we'll bring this up to the attorney. We're going to review it again. We can always knock it out again. I'm not saying that this is going to be a hard, fast rule. This is one that we are curious about. We think it has some merit. We'll give it to the attorney. The attorney says, you're out of your minds, and we kill it, or this is what I would suggest, and this is how it fits.
We got a hand up.
Yes, Karen or Bert or whatever.
No, that's me. As I said, I've tried to change my name there a couple of times and I just can't do it. But the Blue Book does have definitions of what a visitor is, what a unit owner's guest is, and what a house guest is. So those are already in place if you choose to use those. And also, you were talking about people coming into the park. I remember one time we had people coming in to play bingo. And I don't know if they allow that anymore or not, unless you are actually called in by someone.
Yes, that's the other issue that we'll be addressing. But the fact that the Blue Book addresses it doesn't mean it's correctly. I'm worried about conflict But if in fact we want to change the governing documents, then the blue book would follow.
That the comment you're referring to, Karen, I addressed with the exemptions in A, which says commercial activity associated with special events that have been approved or sponsored by the board of directors shall be permitted for the duration of the approved event. That could apply to your bingo players.
Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely, yes. And from a liability perspective, it's approved, and they would, outline that there's no alcohol, there's no this, there's this. It's, the liability is very limited. Okay, with your permission, we'll keep it on there and move it to the attorney. And if we want to kill it later, we can. Anybody disagree?
No.
All right. Invited guests are not allowed to pay or for use of the commercial services. I think that's addressed with what Dave had written. Certainly the next one does. The other one I want to discuss, and this kind of does what Dave said, is do we give more selective power to the board for changes, for allowed changes within the governing documents that they're allowed to do? Does everybody understand what I'm saying? In other words, you're giving power within the governing documents to have the board make more decisions. And although I'm suggesting selective power, not all power, but if in fact something that we don't catch can be caught by the board without going to the membership. Now that requires a membership vote.
Yep.
For the board to do that. And we kind of do that with the special events. The special events is saying it's got to be board approved. So that's kind of the selective power I'm talking about. And maybe that's all we do. But let's discuss that. Does anybody?
Do you have an example of what you're talking about? I'm at
Good.
a little bit of a loss.
The example is what Dave wrote on special events. And that would be, I think he doesn't say board. I think he says association. But that's, in other words, if I want to have.
It says board of directors. You want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead. Yes, read it.
Yeah.
Commercial activity associated with special events that have been approved or sponsored by the board of directors shall be permitted for the duration of the approved event. Such activities may include vendors, exhibitors, entertainers, food service providers, and other participants authorized by the board.
Yeah, and the reason why I threw that in there is that the boat club and the pickleball club are outside of the scope of the board.
Right.
This puts them inside the scope of the board, and not that they're going to be denied, but if the boat club wants an event, it just goes in front of them and make sure that the liability is fine and that we understand there's outside guests coming in or not coming in, that they're allowed. And just to put our arms around some of these events to make sure we understand what we're doing.
So does that mean every fundraiser, every TGIF has to go to the board of directors?
Yes. Keep in mind, they're serving alcohol.
Mm-hmm. But they don't currently go to the board of directors.
No, they don't.
Yeah, I'm not. Okay, so I don't know that I like that.
And they're charging money it's not an approved committee.
They're not an approved committee, but they are approved organization within through the rec department, through the rec committee, right?
No, they're not.
No, they're not.
Are they regulated at all any other way?
No, they're not regulated at all.
So again, I think it comes back to, do we want to start having the option of regulating it?
I don't know that we need
It
that.
doesn't have to be onerous. I mean, from the standpoint, if the boat club has 5 events, they just list them, put it in front of the board, and they go through, maybe ask a few questions, and they're good for the season.
Okay. All right. So I don't know that I like that. I think that's something I have to think about. But what I do have a problem with is just throwing out a line there that arbitrarily says the board has more powers. I think I like what Dave wrote there about the activities, because I think it's specific. It defines what power the board has there. And I don't know that giving the board some kind of unspecified power to regulate something is good. I also don't think that's going to be really popular with the VO membership.
No, and my point is selective power, and that paragraph is what I'm talking about. That should be allowed, in my opinion, and no more than that. And
Oh, okay.
Maybe there's something else that we give the board
Gotcha.
power to as we come across, but not a blanket.
Oh, okay. Now I understand better. So you like what's in there, but you don't want to put another sentence saying that the board has unspecified powers.
No.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Right. Any other comments on this?
Yeah, do you envision that a point, if this gets through, or the board's going to say, no, boat club, you can't do that, or no, pickleball club, you can't do that?
I don't envision that. But if in fact the board does say the boat club can't do that, it's got to be a significant reason.
I would agree to that. Yeah, for sure. I mean, we haven't had this for 50 years, so.
Right.
Well, maybe
That's
depending on the event, there might be other questions like, do you have a liability policy since you're serving alcohol, or some things that may not be tied in that we don't know of right away. That gives the board the authority to ask for those.
Yes, that's right, and they get to review it. And my guess is they're going to pass most everything that's here. So we allow it's the element. Actually, it's the wording that allows people to come in from the outside because it's a special event. So bingo, if they want people from the outside, they can allow that. Howard Livingston, a lot of liability there from the standpoint of coming in, drinking the whole 9 yards, and even promote a margarita. Not that it's bad. I'm just saying, keeping our arms around it, trying to understand it, understand how many guests are coming in, what the liability is. And my guess is they'll continue to approve it. But we have a record of it.
Okay.
But if it now goes to the board, that means the liability falls to the board of directors.
Liability, well, I wouldn't say that.
Okay. That's right. It was kind of a question. Not it wasn't an answer.
No, I think the answer is it falls to the association. If the board of directors made a decision, it doesn't mean that that you could sue them because they made a decision to regulate in a good way.
Okay. Yeah, that's a concern because I don't know how the liability falls now for those same events. So I guess it goes directly to the association.
But to your point, if they allow alcohol, that's a different issue.
Okay, so that's something that has to be thought about, and that's something the board would have to seriously consider.
That's right, but the attorney would probably he would comment on that, absolutely.
But then again, that paragraph gives the board the authority to do that, to take it to the attorney and all that before approving it.
No. I'm saying how we write this and putting in our governing documents, he may say, don't do that.
Oh, I got you. I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
And by the way, Pat, it's not alcohol, it's bubbly.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Bubbly.
All right.
Pat, I think the board would really only be called in on something special or different. For instance, food trucks was new to us, so the board took that on to put guidelines on food trucks.
Right.
As far as most activities, they're done. I don't see where the board has any involvement unless something illegal or wrong was coming out of it.
Well, and you're right, but what happens, that's the loophole that we're allowing outside guests coming in.
Right.
And we just spent all this time talking about you can't do this with a guest. You can't have more than X, or you can't do this. And all of a sudden we allow 50 of them in.
Good point.
And whose guests are they?
So all these points make sense once you talk about it, but how can we get this to the membership so they don't look at this and go, "Oh, look at all those new rules"? Heck, no, I'm not voting on that without them completely understanding what the goal is.
Now you really do have to write up the reason why this is an important rule. But to your point, and the attorney will tell us this, and Kevin, I think, would agree, is that if you put this whole document into one and say yes or no, it's probably going to get voted down. What you do is you piecemeal it to maybe 3 or 4 sections that they might approve, and other sections they may not approve, which he would suggest, and I would suggest it as well.
So would it be feasible to have a board meeting that addresses this before putting it out to the membership? A public board meeting?
Yeah, I believe you'd have to.
You'd have to, the board would have to approve that it goes to a membership vote.
Yep.
Yes.
But that would give them the opportunity to hear about it, ask questions, et cetera, prior to a vote.
But that's
Of
the
course.
purpose of the committee, is to hash through all this stuff to then bring it to the board.
That's correct. And then we may suggest to the attorney, or the attorney may suggest, I'm just saying, to the board, that you bust this up into 3 or 4 different pieces and approve this section of the change, and they may not approve another section of the change.
After talking with our attorney recently, he's actually changed his mind on that. When we talked about redoing the documents, he said redo the whole thing and you have it approved as a whole. He doesn't agree with breaking it up.
Okay. Well, let's get his opinion when it comes through.
Yeah, right. When we've got something to hand them, we'll get another opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about, does everybody agree that we'll put this in, get the approval, or get the opinion of the attorney? He may write something for us, and then we can kill it if we don't like it.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's go. Quite frankly, to your document, Dave. Those are just elements. Most of those elements are not in your document, so I wanted to cover that. Why don't you walk through it for us? You did a nice job.
Well, a lot of it was unchanged. The definition of commercial activity is unchanged. I'm trying to look here just to catch myself up. The rule regarding commercial activity didn't change at all either. Basically, as I mentioned earlier, it was mostly the exceptions that I added in. And I can walk through, we've already covered A. B applies to home-based artisan activities, residents who, and this came up because of honey, etc. Residents who create, craft, or produce handmade goods, artwork, food products, or similar items on a small scale, primarily as a hobby or supplemental income, shall be exempt, provided that the activity does not create a nuisance or materially impact neighboring properties. The activity does not involve regular outside customer traffic. The activity does not require employees to work from the residence, and the activity does not generate income at a level reasonably considered a primary livelihood or full-time occupation. So basically, if you're, if you want to sell honey, or, you made some shell decorations or whatever, that opens the door for that.
I'm not sure number 4 will fly. I don't
Right.
know, I don't know how you can regulate it.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that's unenforceable. Again, I'm just putting it in there to cover it. If you see, I mean, it's a tough one. You're right. I agree.
Why did you add that one? That I agreed
because
with Gary.
it's what we've decided. One of the rules is you cannot have commercial activity as your primary livelihood and operate outside your home. You can't. Examples might be the fishing charter thing. You can't have people come to your house, get on the boat, and all that as your primary livelihood. You can't do it that way. Same thing applies if you're selling honey. You can't have a honey business that's called, Key West Honey, and having people come to your business all the time for that, or your home for that.
Yeah, they're really not a commercial business. They're considered a home-based art activity business. But the real issue beyond that is we'll kill a few things. It's more than just the honey. And there's more issues. There's a painting class that happens in the pavilion it's a chargeable event. They even have people from the outside. There's a clay pat class or whatever. It's the person that runs it charges for it in the common property. and can possibly have people from the outside come in. So right now, we would kill those businesses. And should we kill those businesses that are artist-based, that are using, quite frankly, our pavilion and the rec halls and so on and so forth. So that's what we're trying to address. Is that harmful to the community? Is it going to be allowed? And how do we write this up if we think it should be?
I don't think it's harmful to the community.
I don't think it's harmful either.
No.
I mean, I think it's great for the community that we're
I think
offering it.
I think it's beneficial. It provides an activity.
Mhm.
Yes, it does.
Again, it just comes down to managing outside guests coming in. At what level do we want to manage them?
Right. So do we want to allow outside guests coming in, or is it strictly something that, because I don't think we should from that standpoint, because it's something that helps the community out. Bringing it
So-
outside seems like they're trying to make money.
How do you determine who is using it as a primary livelihood? I mean, I know it's easy to say, that we can pick a couple of businesses within Venture Out that advertise commercially, that is a commercial business. How do we say that, Rosalie Staduto, who's a pottery lady, is, that's her primary business?
So I think you put a dollar amount on it. I think it's $100, and that's it. So
Well, she probably maybe makes $100, but that also pays for the call, like for the clay class. It's
That's right.
It's $10. There's probably more than 10 ladies or 10 people in there, but that is really just paying for the cost of the clay.
Yeah.
I don't know how much the clay is versus a class, but I don't think you have to pay when you don't get the clay, when you don't buy the clay from her.
So you're saying they're just buying supplies?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least that's when I've gone to the clay class, that's what I thought was how it was happening.
So is it reasonable just to apply a dollar amount then, say, I don't know, whatever it comes out to be, but $1,000 a week, maximum, qualifies or something. I don't know.
Well, I think 1,000 is too much, but 100 may be too little. But there's got to be something there, to your point, is what's considered small and what's now is becoming a small commercial business, as opposed to an event, a small event. The other thing we need to address that's not in here is they're using common property. So we need to not allow them to use the pavilion or the rec hall or whatever.
So if you go to my next one, just to touch on that, I'm not skipping, and we still probably need to come back to that. But if you go to the community store, where I kind of use some language there to cover that, the community store may serve residents, guests, invitees, contractors, and members of the general public as authorized by the association. We could change that to the board. Probably needs to be changed. Use of the store facilities, and store restrooms by non-resident shall not constitute a violation of this rule. You could throw in a similar line to the activities going on in the pavilion.
Yeah, I would say to the members of the boating general public, as opposed to general public, we're trying to accommodate boaters, as opposed to people coming in and buying stuff at the convenience store.
Yeah, but I think we're also trying to get them to, when they come into the general store, they're limited to that. They can use the restroom there. They can use the fuel facilities. They can't walk over and use the power washer or jump in the pool or anything like that.
That's right.
You could apply some similar rule to what goes on in the pavilion.
Yes. And allow them to use the pavilion or the rec hall or whatever the
restroom at the rec hall. You're contained there basically if you come in for that.
All right. Until we get into the details here, does everybody think we should be pursuing this? Is this a good thing to pursue? Anybody disagree that we shouldn't even be dealing with this?
Yeah.
I guess I'm not clear what we're saying here.
Yeah.
So we're trying to prohibit activities or not?
I think we're trying to manage, the activities in some aspect, right?
You're trying to manage. It sounds like we're trying to manage the breadth of an activity, how big it is, how much impact it has.
Well, I assume people aren't coming in off the streets to go to a clay class. They must be invited in, correct?
Right.
I don't know.
Invited
they can still come in.
They have to at least, I mean, it's every Monday night, most of the time, so it's something they may just know about, but I don't think there was very many people from outside going to at least the clay class, the couple that I went to.
I don't think it's a problem that we're dealing with on a global level. I think it just addresses, what we expect when you have an event and an outside guest is invited in. What are they entitled to use once they get there? We don't, they're not entitled to leave that pavilion to go to the swimming pool, etc.
Well, the problem, it's a conflict because they're paying money as an invited guest and they're not. Now they're a customer.
I gotcha.
That's a problem.
But doesn't that come down to what we discussed about putting a dollar amount on what is actually commercial activity that's, part of your livelihood?
So we're gonna have security check receipts. How are we gonna, again,
That's a really difficult.
It is.
enforceability? I mean,
Not just
the
even
person that-
enforceability. It's not only enforceability. It's even where do you make that line? Where do you define that? I don't think a dollar amount's a good idea.
yeah.
All right. So
Oh.
here we are. We don't want to kill it because the main reason why we want it is the benefit to the homeowners and to the renters.
Correct.
So that's why we're addressing this. So how do we address it to allow this to happen and not have it look like a money-making proposition, for them as a commercial business, that they're really there for a service and they're reimbursed a small amount of money for their time and effort and for their supplies.
I think it comes down to the board looking at it and okaying it, like we've talked about before.
I just want to clarify on the issue, Pat, that you brought up about the painting class and similar things like that. Most of those things, I think all of those things, 100%, are fundraisers for blocks and so on. When those painting classes happen, I, as a patron, pay my $60. 10 or 20 of those dollars goes towards the block that's sponsoring it. So those people, the artist that comes in to teach that class, is not coming in running a business. She's being invited in as a fundraiser. So I think all of those things like that happen at the pavilion like that are all like that. It's not an outside vendor coming in to make money.
Well, and you bring up a good point, because if in fact they're associated with the blocks, now it's associated with the community. And that does not need approval if in fact it's benefiting 100% the block 7 or block 9 or whoever.
And
It's like the rest of it. So it's
into owners serving other owners and registered guests.
That's correct. And they are an approved entity, is the blocks. We have a committee for it and we regulate it as a board, as a community. That's a different animal. If somebody's doing it on their own and not associating with the block, then that's what we're addressing here. I don't know how much of that goes on. Do you know, Shelley?
I'm guessing, I can't think of an instance actually.
So, I mean, we could generally say we're going to kill this. Any activity like this has to be supported by a committee, whether it be a block 9 or a block 7 committee or the rec committee or whatever.
Okay, the people are doing the clay class, who's supporting that now, or who
Yeah,
sanctions that?
I don't know if anybody is supporting it officially.
I think it's rec.
Like, I don't know if she shares any of the profits. I don't know. But it's still a really good thing, and there's a lot of people that go to it every week.
Sure.
I honestly don't think there's any profit there at all. I think that's strictly a volunteer thing on her part. I don't think she makes any money on that.
Like I said, I think it's just for the supplies.
And she's supported by rec because rec paid to get parts to get fixed for the kiln.
So you can basically turn that B exemption into one line that says any activity supported by the board of directors or venture out committee, is exempt.
How about any nonprofit or not for profit?
Yeah.
Any non-for-profit activity supported by the board of directors or venture out committee.
Yeah, that's well put. That's where we want to be. So if it's supplies, then it's still not for profit. It still qualifies.
Okay.
We have two hands up.
742, go ahead.
It's
742.
742 me?
Yeah, that's you, Joyce.
That's you.
Oh, it's me, Joyce. Okay,
Right.
Joyce Ellis, 270. I think one of the things I missed a lot of the thing. I came in late, but talking about bringing the public in, I think that's where the biggest issue is, because and I think you'd have to check with the attorney. Most of the time, we are subject to FHA as a condominium. But if you start bringing in the public under certain circumstances, now ADA also falls into your requirements. So, I mean, that kind of double hits us. So, I mean, I think that's something that needs to be considered if there's different standards you're going to have to follow if you're going to bring in the public. That was the one thing I was concerned about. Thank you.
Thanks, Joyce. I'm sure the attorney, I will bring that up to the attorney if that's an issue. And it certainly could be. So Dave, did you write something down with regards to this issue on nonprofit activities?
Not anywhere else. So I just changed B to read. Now it reads residents who create, craft, or produce handmade goods, artwork, food products, or similar items on a small scale, primarily as a hobby or supplemental income, shall be exempt, provided it is a not-for-profit activity supported by the board of directors or venture out committee.
Yeah, we'll just have to kill small profit or whatever that word.
I killed everything else beyond that.
Okay, all right.
Hey, I just have a question that goes back to what Joyce was just asking is, and I think, you know, it's interesting point you brought up, Joyce, but we're not actually bringing people into the park, into the community for these events. I mean, so we're not proactively, if I understand, proactively trying to bring people in. That doesn't mean we don't allow outside people to come in. Does that change your thoughts on that at all, Joyce?
I don't know if she's still there.
Oh, well, anyway, even if she isn't, I still want to throw out that same idea. I mean, there's a difference between actively trying to bring people in, recruiting people to come into our park, and allowing people access to certain events.
Looks like Joyce is there.
Yeah. Okay. I'm unmuted again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, there are some events that people from the outside come in.
Right.
Artisan events.
I don't know how that works as far as how they how it would affect us with the ADA. So yeah, I mean, we do have events where people from the outside come in.
Right. But your point was that we're bringing people in. We're not bringing people in. That doesn't mean
allowing people
allowing.
In.
And I don't know.
I'm
is
not
that a
talking
difference?
about the food trucks or something
Right.
like that. No.
Right.
No, I'm just saying, oh, let's say we had the food trucks and we said, oh, you can come in the gate and come to the food trucks and get your food and leave. That, you know, that's something we couldn't do.
Right.
At least I think, without, you know, possibly falling into the ADA situation.
Thanks, Joyce. That's what I was asking. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Anybody disagree with what we've just accomplished on home-based artisan activities? All right. Well, Dave, if you could audit or edit your document after the meeting, that would be helpful with that.
Yep, I've edited it already. I'm editing it as we go.
All right. So let's go to community store. Why don't you walk through that?
Yep. The community store may serve residents, guests, invitees, contractors, and members of the general public as authorized by the board of directors. Use of the store facilities, and store restroom by non-residents shall not constitute a violation of this rule.
Yeah, I would insert the boating general public as opposed to general public. So we specific
But,
or something
if they
simple.
don't come in any other way to that store other than by boat, correct?
Yeah, we don't want people coming into the convenience store because we sell lollipops.
Gotcha.
Right.
But there isn't, the bathroom in the store is only for employees. If someone has to use the bathroom, they get sent to the rec hall.
Is that okay? I can change that. I can change it to rec hall restroom.
I would just eliminate restrooms.
The thing is that they are used because you have guys filling up their things and it's gonna be 45 minutes to fill up their gas. If they gotta go to the bathroom, we just.
Yeah, I think we should keep them in. Keep the restrooms in there.
Okay.
Well, you can call the store restroom whatever you want. It's however they get directed, I guess.
Yes.
Would that include the restrooms at the pool as well?
Well, if the rec hall restroom's out of service and the only one's at the pool and that's where the store directs them, that becomes the store restroom, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Is there one other way to say that? Is there a better way to? Because the store restroom sounds pretty specific, and I mean, I know what you're saying, but I don't know. Is there a better way?
I'm open to suggestions. I just went with, I think store restroom is defined by the available restroom facility.
So
Maybe How about available restrooms is defined by the I don't know, the community or something. I don't know. I mean, we certainly don't want to go to the board of directors every time a restroom needs to be open, but I mean, how is there available restroom in some?
How about approved restroom?
There you go. I like that.
An approved restroom. Okay.
Good idea, Pat.
Put a sign up with a door approved restroom.
So I have community store may serve residents, guests, invitees, contractors, and members of the boating general public as authorized by the board of directors. Use of the store facilities, and approved restroom by non-residents shall not constitute a violation of this rule.
So what do you mean by voting general public?
Boating, B-O-A-T.
Voting, sorry. Does anybody else come in just to go to the store? So, and will we lose business if we currently allow that?
Well, like Pat was saying, I don't think anybody comes in to get a drumstick. I don't think they allow them through the gate.
That would be, and it would be difficult because they'd have to come through the gate. And I don't know that I'm not sure, but I don't think at the gate that they would be allowed to come in just to buy milk at the store or something like that.
I wouldn't think so. They're not an invited guest.
Yeah,
Right.
They come in by boat, which I think that's
Only by boat.
Yeah.
Well,
We get it all the time. People want to come in, we turn them around, tell them they can't come in.
Right.
People come all the time because they're looking for a store, venture out store shows up and they come to the gate saying, hey, I gotta get to the store.
So it's only boaters that have free access to the store.
That's right.
Yes.
yeah, I just wasn't sure if they were allowed in currently.
Nope.
No, we don't have parking for them anyway. For the most. Joyce, you got a comment?
Yeah, Joyce Ellis, 270. Okay, so we have boaters that come in and get gas, maybe buy bait, whatever. Why do we have to supply restrooms for them? I mean, it's not a restaurant where people come in and you must have a restroom. I mean, now we have these people wandering around Venture Out because they bought gas. I don't see the necessity to provide a restroom for people who come to buy gas.
Well, if you've ever boated and you're out there for an hour and you've been drinking water or whatever you've been drinking and you come in, you want to go to the restroom.
It's a basic expectation.
You got a boat.
It's a basic expectation if you're a store owner to, if you're a vendor to have a restroom. I mean, that's in my opinion.
Have you
Quite
ever
frankly, it may be illegal not to have restrooms.
Yeah, but I think only if you're serving serving food, not a grocery store. I don't think. I don't know.
I
But
don't know, I mean, it's, I'm just not trying to
I've
be
been
anything,
in,
but if you get somebody that says, I gotta go number two, and are you gonna send them away?
I don't know. I've been in stores where you've asked, do you have a restroom? And they say, no, we don't have a restroom for customers.
And quite frankly, they can't stay there long. I mean, the boat's there. They got to fill up with gas and get out of there and wait for somebody else to come in. They have to, it's in and out.
Well, but it's not in and out if they're now going to go where? To the rec hall? I'm just saying, just a comment. That's it.
Right.
Do it.
I don't know. I don't think that we should not allow somebody who needs to use a restroom to use a restroom, especially being an old guy who needs a restroom.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I don't think there's any harm. And generally, it brings in tremendous amounts of revenue for us and profit.
Again, if it becomes an issue, we can readdress it, but I don't see a problem with it.
Right.
I don't think so
Yeah,
either.
if it becomes an issue letting people wander around, find a restroom, I agree. We can deal with that. But, I mean, people who cause a disturbance should be addressed anyway under other regulations within the park.
I can tell you it's been happening the whole time. No one knows it, and it hasn't been an issue.
There you go.
I don't think it will be.
Yeah, I don't want to keep somebody from using a restroom that needs a restroom.
It's like pulling up the gas station in your car. You're not there for an afternoon. You want to get your gas and get out of there. You
Right.
got to vote.
And you want to use the restroom while you're there.
Yeah.
Why don't we just sell Depends in the store and we'll take care of it?
All right. Next, go ahead, Dave. Go through D.
Yep. Authorized vendors, contractors, service providers, delivery services, and other commercial enterprises entering the community to provide goods or services to owners, registered guests, the association, or approved events may use roads, parking areas, and restrooms as reasonably necessary to perform their services.
I think it's well put. I would authorized outside vendors. We might insert the word outside. I'm not sure about authorized. I don't know who authorizes them or how they get authorized, but maybe it's just outside vendors for D.
Oh yeah, as the title. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Well, like we authorize like the food trucks, right?
Yes. But we don't
Are there other vendors aside from that type of thing that come into the park that aren't authorized at this point?
Well, we have Billy Bob's HVAC that comes in. We're going to let him in, but he can only use let me go back.
Okay.
There was a comment made last meeting that these outside vendors are using our common property, and the common property roads and parking and or restrooms and or whatever. So we're allowing that to happen because there was a guest that made that distinction. That's the reason for this paragraph.
Okay.
So I've changed the title on D to outside vendors.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else have comments to this?
No, but thanks for that clarification.
Yeah. Yeah. We didn't think it was necessary until that came up, and we said, okay, we'll address it. Go ahead. Go to E.
Owners serving other owners and registered guests. Owners of venture out who own commercial entities and who are actively providing a commercial service to another venture out owner, short or long-term renter, or registered guest shall not be considered in violation of the rule regarding usage of common properties and amenities. Incidental remote work or administrative office work conducted entirely within a residence that does not involve customer visits, employees, deliveries, business traffic, loading, unloading, maintenance of commercial equipment, merchandise, or supplies shall not constitute prohibited commercial activities. Again, a lot of words just covering a lot of areas that could come up to protect, any incident that could happen, but I suppose we could shorten that.
Yeah, this one's key. I think somebody had said, what's a registered guest? And I think I would insert registered rental guests. I think that was the intent. Line 2, registered rental guests.
Got it.
So this is a big paragraph. People go ahead and comment. Is it well written? Is it accomplished what we want to accomplish?
I think it does.
Very well written.
I think so too.
So my question is it too well written? Is it too much? Like, I'm not sure. I thought there was some exemption for like the golf cart business. I don't remember what that was, but maintenance of commercial equipment, do we also have somebody that works inside the park, like for landscaping?
So
Does he have
Yes.
any,
the way I
does it,
see it is that we're allowing owners and registered guests to use the services. I'll use the golf cart company as an example, to use that service because they're servicing another owner.
Exactly.
But we're not allowing the golf cart company to grab 10 golf carts and start working on them in his driveway.
okay, but how about one? I mean, or, and I also am going back to the landscaping. I thought there was a landscaping company that stores products throughout the park, if I'm not mistaken.
No,
No,
I don't know anything about that. What's
No.
going on with that, Kevin?
there's nobody storing anything inside the park. The sprayers that come in, they bring their stuff with them. They're actually here today, and they go through, spray the whole common areas, and then they're gone. Nothing's here. And the same with the guy that's trimming the fence line in the red lot. He comes in with his own stuff and then leaves.
Okay.
But I mean, that brings up another question, and I don't know the answer to it. I mean, is one okay?
Is
What was,
Servicing one golf cart?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, if you're doing it for another owner, I don't see a problem with it. I think it'd be
Exactly
kind of
right.
crazy.
You go to his house and service his golf cart, or bring it to his house and service it. I don't see a problem with that at all.
I don't either.
okay. Good, because that brings up, when I'm reading this, that brings up another point that I had, which you say in this, who are promoting, let's see, incidental remote work or administrative office work conducted entirely within the residence that does not involve a customer visit. So, I mean, the point I have with this one goes back to something we talked about before was what if you're an attorney and you're working remotely from your home, but you've basically got a customer within the park or externally outside of the park, and you invite them to your home to have a discussion, or an accountant when you're doing the tax season, or any number of consultants that could potentially have somebody come. Would that be not allowed under these rules?
Yes,
It's not allowed, and that's a slippery slope, I think.
it is a slippery slope, but yes, it wouldn't be allowed if you're inviting your customers, your outside customers to your home. If it's a venture out owner, then it doesn't qualify.
Well, is it that so that it doesn't? That's again, that's a point. It doesn't necessarily distinguish work conducted entirely within a residence that does not involve customer visits. A customer visit could be your next door neighbor, right? I mean, so I have a little problem with trying to regulate that kind of a business, a consulting business. I understand the idea of not having 10 golf carts being serviced on your property, but that's really a broad interpretation there that says if you're consulting or you have some kind of remote office work that you do and you help other people with that work, that they can't come to your office.
Are they coming from
I think
outside?
That's
What's
covered prior to this. There's another paragraph, and maybe they should be together, or maybe we should add that, is that you can't have people come to your lot. You can't have employees.
Right.
That's
Right.
covered in another section, so that would violate that section.
Well, I agree it's covered in a section. I kind of have a problem with that as well. So that's the issue. I mean, if that's what you do for a living, are we going to say you can't do that for a living? You can't do it while you're in venture out. You can't you can't be a remote consultant or remote attorney or remote accountant while you're living in venture out.
How will we know?
You can't have an office, a remote office.
How will we know if a customer came to an attorney's house? You probably never know. Could be a guess.
Absolutely, Bill. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, again, it comes down to the partially enforceability, but the rule that's currently in place that I did not write is all units and properties in the subdivision are restricted to recreational and residential
Right.
use. No commercial activities shall be conducted thereon. That's been in there.
Right, and I think that's right of what we want to change because the idea is, hell, I don't know, half the people in the workforce nowadays work remotely from their home, and to say you can't work remotely from your home just because you're in VO, that's an issue. I don't think
I
that's
don't think we're not
reasonable.
saying you can't work from home. You can work from home.
Well,
It
you
says
just
that
you
you can
just
work from home. You just
but
can't invite employees to your home or outside.
or
So
or a customer,
Jeff,
or a client.
Jeff, do you want to allow it, or do you just have an enforceability issue?
No, no, no. I want to. I think we need exceptions to allow something. Again, if an
No.
attorney wants to allow someone into their house to talk, and like Bill said, so if they bring someone into their house, um, I don't know how you'd enforce it anyway. They could say, "Well, this is just a friend of mine," right? But the idea is, I don't know why you wouldn't allow somebody to do a remote office out of their own home.
Yeah, that's a very slippery slope. If I have a real estate office and I have somebody come over and sign up, and it starts violating the fact that you're a nuisance to your neighbors.
Well, I think all of that can be regulated, but I don't, again, I think that there needs to be some exemptions that are pulled out here.
I've been a consultant for 5 years. 95% of my work is on my phone or so on and so forth. If I wanted to meet somebody, I'd meet them at a restaurant. I'd meet them at another location because I don't want them coming into my house. I want them to see the dirty dishes. It's
Well, I mean, that's you, but I mean, a lot of people do have remote offices and they do work remotely now and they have people come to their office. I'm not saying that it has to be, I'm not saying you don't have a good suggestion that we can tell people that, but I go back to Bill. I don't know if somebody invites somebody to talk about their tax returns, an accountant with their tax returns, if they come into that office, I don't know how you enforce that. How do you stop that?
Enforceability is another issue, but allowing
Right.
it is another issue. So
Okay.
let's
Can't stop that from happening over the phone either.
All right, that's right.
Well, and that was another question I had is a client coming to your home if you put them on Zoom, right? I mean, in this day and age, that's you know that's
They're
your
not
client coming to
physically
your home.
there on. They're not physically on the
Okay,
property.
All right,
physically.
let's take a straw vote here. How many people like E the way it's written to send it to the attorney? Again, we can kill this if later on. Has anybody got any issues with E?
One of the things that I have is a separate one is the loading and unloading. Again, golf carts. Is he bringing a golf cart in? That's unloading it. If he's bringing it in from wherever he stores them off site and brings them in, that's unloading, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree with that. Loading, unloading. I excluded those from mine too. And also merchandise and supplies, I deleted, but that's another issue. But
Yeah,
Well,
Bill, you had deleted those from the other version, right?
and just for discussion, the reason I put those in there was to eliminate, trucks coming in, delivering, I don't want to use anybody for an example, but if so and so sells pinball machines or they repair pinball machines in their spare time and they've got 10 machines coming in for customers and they're bringing in an 18 wheeler for that or a pallet of paper, for their real estate business, it covers that. I'm just trying to cover potential areas. I'm not saying that they happen or they ever happened, just covering it.
we had to have an air conditioning unit delivered to our house. If it was in there, they couldn't have unloaded it.
Right.
But you're servicing an owner at that point. So that becomes a different issue.
Oh,
You're referring to it as much as storage than anything else.
Correct. I'm saying, you're dropping off a pallet of paper or, I'm not talking about you. Oh my gosh, you got a new printer delivered. I'm talking about something substantial that's going to affect the neighborhood.
Maybe it needs to be revised to be clear for clarity there. So this is a place where there's a lot of potential interpretation. I think maybe this section needs a little bit more clarity or detail, specificity around it.
I'm open to suggestions. Yeah, I mean, let's rewrite
Sure.
it.
So the question revolves around unloading and loading of equipment and delivery of equipment. Is that right?
That's
yes.
I mean, would that just be considered business traffic, which is already in there?
Yes, I would agree.
So I can strike loading and unloading or maintenance of commercial equipment, or do we need to leave maintenance of commercial equipment? Do we want the boating people to be servicing their boats and taking up space doing that?
Right.
course we do.
I can park my boat in front of my house for what is it, 24, 46 hours?
You can, as an
But
owner,
you're
we're
not
talking about
commercial.
talking
But
about
if I
commercial.
bring somebody in to work on my boat, I can park it there and have him work on it, correct?
Yes, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would say so because you're not commercial,
Right,
right?
you're not a commercial business,
Right.
and you're hiring somebody.
And
for
the, and the
service.
vendor can come, and the vendor is allowed to come in and work on it.
Yes. Yeah.
We're talking about,
Right.
the landscaper that runs a landscaping business and he's servicing his lawnmowers, or something like that. So loading and unloading, clearly, in my opinion, is covered by business traffic. I think that could come out.
Yes.
Does that everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
Agree.
So I'll strike that. But it comes down to maintenance of commercial equipment. Do we want to leave that in, or do we want to define that more, or how does everybody feel about that?
Are you saying that the commercial fishing boat, if they had their boat worked on, they couldn't do it here?
Well, I mean, if they're an owner, I don't think you could stop them. I don't think you could be a boat repair business and venture out and invite somebody in to work on their boat.
But the way it's worded, I would say if I have a commercial fishing business, I couldn't, and my boat's not working, what do? I have to have somebody come in to maintain it or to fix it.
Well, let's reverse
That's
that.
allowable.
Let's reverse that. Let's say we took it out. What harm would it cause taking it out?
The only harm that I see is in the event that, you've got somebody with a fleet of equipment and it's time to change the oil and they're bringing it all home with them to work on it.
Yeah, I think that's covered in the other paragraph too. I think you can take this out.
You guys in agreement?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I took that out. Anything else on that paragraph that you want to talk about or delete, or?
I think it looks pretty good. Again, all of this that we're putting together, we'll have another look at it.
Well, you're going to have an attorney look at it and go, okay, well, yeah, that works or that doesn't anyway.
Yep, that's right. Last paragraph is, by the way, COA is Condominium Owners Association, which is what we are. But I would change the COA to the Board of Directors reserves the right.
Okay.
And this is a very common paragraph.
Yeah, the board of directors reserves the right to adopt additional rules, restrictions, permits, fees, insurance requirements, and enforcement procedures governing any commercial vendors or approved commercial use of common property or amenities.
All right. It doesn't really change anything with regards to governing documents.
It was good to me.
Okay, so we're out of time here, but we made some great progress. Dave, if you could put this together, and if the committee approves it, I would like to work with Dave and Kevin and Gary if he's able or wants to, and kind of package this together the way it was intended by the committee and give it to the attorney.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I'm saving it now and I'll email it to the group here in a minute.
Okay.
Hey, Pat, I got a question. On the very beginning, definition of commercial activity, you've got Dave's written things, and then there was some changes made by Bill. I don't believe that has been discussed yet, has it?
Well, the first definition of commercial activities, we would not send to the attorney, basically on the fact that we're just kind of defining what we have today. It is the present definition. When you get into the second paragraph, it's the new definition, as he wrote it. It needs to be cleaned up a little.
I agree.
Pat, I'm sorry. Can you restate what you just said? I'm a little confused.
The first paragraph, definition of commercial activity,
Right.
and we discussed this last week. So that's kind of where we are today.
Right. Okay.
And then the next paragraph, rule regarding commercial activity, is what we
Okay.
want to insert.
Yeah. Thank you. That helps.
I'm including that definition in there just for you guys to look at, but it gets stricken before it gets sent out. That's good.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, we're gonna remove that for the attorney. Otherwise, he might get confused.
I get it.
Okay, any other comments, questions, issues that we need to address?
I have one question. Like I said, since I don't see the whole Zoom, was there anybody else as a guest? I had Karen Bragansky, Joyce Ellis, and Shelley. Is there anybody else on
Vicky
the Zoom?
Wegley's here.
Vicky,
Bert
Yep.
Buganski and Bonnie
I'm
Bryan.
sorry,
I know.
I didn't hear that.
Bert Buganski was on there as well, and then
Bert,
Bonnie.
Bert was also,
Shelley?
I had Shelley.
Okay. Then there's two phone, Joyce was, do you have Joyce?
Joyce was 742. I don't know who 305 is.
That's the office.
That's the office,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, all right, got it.
Okay, thank you.
Bonnie Bryan is Bryne. She was on for about a half an hour, 45 minutes.
Okay. Well, good meeting. I think going forward, again, we'll put this to the attorney. As soon as we get a response back from the attorney, then I will schedule a meeting.
Sounds good.
Yeah, right now, I don't think we schedule anything until I hear back from him.
Great.
All right.
As long as I'm available, I want to be in on that.
I just sent that out to everybody.
Thank you. Dave, thank you so much for all the hard work and on all the keystrokes that you've gotten. Karen, what a wonderful job with the minutes. Keep up the great work there. And Bill, nice comments. You've always done that. So thank you so much. And Gary, your guidance is always appreciated.
I appreciate what you guys are doing.
Yeah, we're getting through this as quickly as we can. So let's do I hear a motion to adjourn?
That's a move.
Please.
And I'll
Second?
second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anybody disagree? All right. Thank you so much. Meeting is over.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.